In this video I'm going to show you some things you could put in a survival trapping kit. Well, someone had asked me about what I would put in like a survival trapping kit. So I put this together of some of the stuff that I would take or use in a survival trapping kit. I made quite a big one. This is in like a gas mask sack. This is what it came with a gas mask in this. So it's quite a big one. This is more like something you'd probably keep in a car or something like that. But if you use the ideas in this and scale them down, you'd probably be able to make a smaller version of this to fit in a bag. But like I said, you need to scale it down so it isn't so big. Right, I'll take the stuff out and then I'll go through it in a bit more detail. So, camouflage duct tape, a net, some big rat traps, multi-tool, a folding hammer, German army knife, some stiff garden wire, some elastic, which this is like really strong catapult elastic or slingshot elastic, fishing line, ready-made deadfall trap mechanisms, loads of different varying thicknesses of rope and string, and brass snare wire. I'll go through them so it makes more sense or whatever. So, well, obviously I'll start off with the string. I've got different lengths, different thicknesses. It'd probably be better if you'd get this all green or black or brown. You probably can get away with this kind of stuff in a pinch, whatever you ever come to it. Or white string, you could probably really dirty this in mud, or use soot out of a fire to make this darker colour. And obviously this is going to be used for lots of different kind of trap mechanisms, from anything to spring snares. You can actually, if you've got decent enough cord, you'll be able to make snares out of it. Spring snares, net traps, are all going to need string as part of the trap mechanism. So as much as you can carry of different lengths and different thicknesses of string. A net, well, this is obviously, if you've already got a ready-made net, that makes things much easier, because you could make a net from your string, but you're going to use a lot up doing that. So if you can get a small net, 5 foot by 5 foot at the smallest, no, not the smallest, 5 foot by 5 foot down to whatever, or up to whatever, depends on what you're going to catch, I suppose, or what you was intending to catch. This one is about 5 foot by 5 foot. If you had a massive one, you might be able to cut it up into smaller ones. That's if you really wanted to, but it's up to you. So a net, ready made, that'll save you a lot of time in doing things. The stiff garden wire and the duct tape is pretty much used, I would use in conjunction with a brass wire. So use the brass wire to make snares, and then use the stiff garden wire as what they call a teeler, and that's to make a rigid part for your snare to stand up straight or stand up in position. And you could always put your stake in the ground, have a stiff part of garden wire coming up and across like that with your snare here, and you could use just a tiny little bit of duct tape to just lightly hold it in place. You probably use that for other things as well, and also this could be used for other things, holding things in position, or if you was making a cage trap, you wanted to reinforce some bits, stiff garden wire could probably do that as well. So I've also got fishing line. You could probably make one of the pheasant string traps out of that, where you put raisins or bait on it and they're supposed to swallow it. But you could also use it with the ready-made figure 4 traps by, when you put your bait on your trigger stick, you could use this fishing line to tie the bait on, because there's nothing worse if you put the bait on and an animal just pulls the bait off and the trap don't go off. If you tie it with a fishing line, that'll make it really hard for them to get it off, and they'll have to tug and pull, and your trap's more likely to go off. I normally put these notches in my trigger sticks and my figure 4s, so if you push it on, it's more likely to stay on. But tie it down also with your fishing line would work as well. Elastic, I've put that in because you could use that for loads of different trap mechanisms what need like a spring, because you might get to a place where they haven't got springy branches, or you can't find any which are good enough, where you could use that as a spring for quite a few different traps. Or if you've seen some other videos, you'll see that I've made like spear traps using elastic. You get decent strong catapult elastic in like a not a bright colour, you know, like grey's pretty good, black, but it all depends, because some of the brands that make elastic, they'll make their strongest elastic in something like blue. That's not so good then, but whatever, see what you can get. But this one was from Asda's, and grey's not a bad colour. Loads of different traps you could use that for. German Army knife, simply because it's got a decent saw blade on it, because you'll be cutting a lot of sticks if you're going to make a lot of traps, and it's got a decent normal blade on it for carving different mechanisms and stuff. If you haven't got anything like that, or just put a folding saw in there, or a small saw, because you're likely to do a lot of cutting. A multi-tool, but the main part on the multi-tool is the wire cutters on it, for cutting your garden wire or cutting your brass snare wire. So make sure you've got something, this has got a wire cutter bit there, something with wire cutters on it. Folding hammer, this has got a few different tools on it. This has got like a file, saw blade there, and a normal blade. This is probably a little bit, the way it is a bit strange to be cutting like that with a hammer at the bottom. Probably get away with it, but the main thing really is for the hammer, because another thing, you're going to be hammering in stakes in the ground, hammering things in, knocking things about, so it pays to have a hammer. You could also probably get away with a small mallet or something, or you can make one while you're out there, but this is all about making things easier. And obviously having ready-made trap mechanisms That'll make things a lot more easier. If you've ever made them, making a figure 4 can be quite detailed, take a bit of time. Your notches and everything's got to be quite precise. So if you've got a load ready made and they're just there ready to just put out easy, simple enough. And you could also make other traps. You could get your snares ready, make them into ready-made snares with your peg and everything ready made. So all you got to do is take them out there, hammer them in the ground. They won't be big, it won't take up a lot of space. So there's different ones here. There's 3 figure 4 traps here and one of these other types. Never did know the name of this. I just called it like a old style trapper, like a mountain man trap, whatever. And that goes like that. And that's your bait stick. Actually, I've got a video of this on there, on YouTube, so you'll probably see that if you look. Then the only other thing I put in was these massive great rat traps. Well, you might be able to catch small birds with this, obviously rats with it. They may be strong enough to catch a squirrel, but you could also use the elastic in conjunction with it by tying some elastic on, so it gives it a harder pull down. And I've seen another few different things where people use rat traps for catching other types of animals. So they might be worth having. If you didn't think so, don't put something like that in there. So that's some items for like a survival trapping kit. You could also put bait in here as well, but that all depends on what animals you was going to trap. And obviously, being a survival trapping kit, you might not know where you're going to end up or whatever. So baits might be a little bit of a one, you know, I don't know. It's probably best to get that while you're out there. So anyway, there's some items for a survival trapping kit. Have a look at my channel for trap videos, because there's loads on there. Yeah, so cheers for watching, and I'll see you next time.